Hello there, this is episode 20 for Basil, our King of Thieves, for Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Well, we finally made it. We've made it to the city of Baldur's Gate. Yes, that's right. We're going to cross this bridge and we're going to chat with the Flaming Fist mercenary. We're going to tell him, of course, that we came from Baragos, because technically that's true. It doesn't really matter what you tell him, including the joke answer. And he'll ask for the commander to chat with him. Basil's going to chat with this guy named Scar. Scar is the second in command of the Flaming Fist, and he asks if we were the ones who have been causing the disruption with the mines at Cloakwood. We'll be honest with him, even if Viconia doesn't really like the fact that we're dealing with the Fist. She, of course, has a bad history with them. So he asks us if we'd be willing to investigate what's going on. He sends us to a merchant house that we'll see later on in the city, called the Seven Sons. We had this opportunity to also tell him what's going on, what we think is going on with the disruption of the mines and the iron and everything that's going on with this whole conspiracy revolving around the Iron Throne. That doesn't really resolve anything right now, but Scar will at least take this into consideration when he is trying to figure out what exactly is going on too. The Flaming Fist, they're kind of like, I've mentioned they're kind of like the cops of this area, kind of like the law enforcement. And I'm guessing Scar is a bit more like the investigative branch kind of guy, where he is kind of looking into stuff that's going on. Everyone's going to talk about how much of a good guy he is, him and his boss. Kagan, of course, has commentary to make about the building of Baldur's Gate, and he says that it must be dwarven made. So with that, we're going to go ahead and cross the bridge and make it into the city. This lady down here is important for another companion that we didn't pick up, and we'll go ahead and cross into the city. And lo and behold, Elminster's going to meet us right away. Kagan, of course, makes a commentary about the poor and says, we ask him about that, about his potential altruism, and he says, no, I just don't want to be poor. So then there's Elminster, and Elminster, of course, greets us, and he states that all people from all over the Sword Coast eventually pass through Baldur's Gate. I don't think that that's entirely true, old man, but, whatever. He and I have the opportunity to exchange words about Gorion and what is going on with Gorion, or Gorion's memory. And Elminster states that while he was a good man, he wanted the best for us. And Basil, of course, can say, yeah, he was a good guy, but I'm hoping to travel my own path. And Elminster says, good, be an independent. Go out, young man, and do whatever it is you do out in the world. And he states that there is bad blood in thee. Gorion knew that there was bad blood in us. What does he mean by bad blood? Does this have anything to do with the dreams that we've been having? I'm not sure what's going on there. That seems really sketchy, and it seems like you should be telling me more information. But nope, I know little of what is to come, but I'm sure I will try to do what is best. Elminster says, yeah, great. I'm going to be cryptic as always and leave you behind. And so Elminster, normally the conversation would end here with Elminster giving us some advice about Scar and Duke Elten, but of course, because of the NPC increased interactions, Minsk is going to have some stuff to say, and Elminster and him are going to exchange words. And I think it's something to do with Minsk buying Boo from Elminster. Yes, that's right. They were Elminster originally sold Boo to Minsk, according to this, and Boo formed the animal companionship with him. And of course, that must mean that Boo actually has connection to Mystra. Elminster, by the way, is like I guess he's kind of like an avatar, or not an avatar of Mystra, but he's like a favorite of Mystra, which is why he's like hundreds of years old and a magical master, and he has more power than, a whole bunch of other characters. And Mystra, of course, is the goddess of magic in this world. So All right, so we're in Baldur's Gate. I'm going to take today to basically go and explore all around the city of Baldur's Gate, unlocking all the areas. Now, with mod I have, it allows me to have the areas explored around. And if you think about it, Baldur's Gate 2 already does this when it comes to Athkatla, so it kind of makes sense to have this mod. But on the main game, you're probably not going to have everything explored already. So this is a good opportunity if you don't have it all explored already to just go out and see what it all looks like. There's a bunch of cool shops and a bunch of cool places where you can visit all around the city. Today we're just going to do a very generic walking around the city and showing you all what is around there. To the this building right here, I guess to Basil's right, is Sorceress Sundries. There's a lot of magic items. It's kind of like an upgraded version of High Hedge, where you can get magical scrolls, you can get magical items. If you want to get a little bit of XP, there's a fight you can have on the third floor with some really rude wizards. You can also sell other magical items there as well. So we go here to this little sliver, and this little sliver has it's got a few shops. It's got the Blade and Stars Inn. That's going to be important for one of the places we want to visit. There's a couple of quests we can pick up in this general area as well, and it's probably the smallest area of Baldur's Gate. It's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're interested in getting some quests, particularly around the docks area. And as mentioned, the Blade and Stars Inn is a nice inn to go to. There is there are a couple of important quest components that are related to this inn. You should definitely check that out. We're going to check right now if we have a Sphene gem, which is kind of like a kind of greenish yellowy gem. That's nice for Grax the Seer, but we don't have one yet, so we will potentially get one later, and we can get a little bit of XP for that. We're going to rest because Vicky is tired, and let's go ahead and head back out. Let's head to the west to the dockyards. Now there is this lovely boat here. This is actually an inn that you can visit. We might get a chance to visit it a little later on. It's called the Low Lantern. It's kind of a nice area. There's a couple of warehouses. You do want to be careful about one of these warehouses. It does have a basilisk in it, a greater basilisk. So if you're hoping to get a little bit of XP, that's a nice amount. You do have the Water Queen's house, which is the temple to the Bishop Umberlee. That is, of course, the Iron Throne headquarters is right there as well. So eventually the game will most certainly lead us there. So we're going to go and pass, by the way, the Harbor Master's house. That is going to be an important element to the story in Chapter 7. We're going to stop by there at least once. And we're going to go along here. We will run into a particular character named Caracas. Caracas talks to us about the docks, and he talks to us about the New World. And of course, we have no idea what this New World is. We only grew up in a library. But no, it turns out there's a whole new continent out there with the world of Mastaskia. I'm having a hard time reading that with the smaller kind of vision I have here, but basically it's basically a whole new continent. It's kind of like what the Americas were. And yeah, so Emwyn has some increased dialogue that we can include here. And of course, we can either be kind of rude or call him a lunatic, or we can maybe consider the possibility of us traveling there. Emwyn, of course, is super excited to meet the locals. And of course, we'll be nice and we'll say hurrah to the New World. I'm sure that's the way a lot of Europeans saw the colonization of the Americas. Because, Why not praise ignorance? So anyway, we're going to keep on going down. You can, of course, check out all these barrels and stuff like that. Most of them don't have anything, which is kind of weird that they included these in the game. Like, they don't have anything in them, but they're just there. And this, of course, is the Bitch Queen's house. We will probably get to check that out more tomorrow. There is this chest here that has a set of bracers. The set of bracers can be identified, and it will basically give us a +1 Thaco boost. You can equip this onto any character, really. I'm going to equip it onto Minsk. And from there, we'll go ahead and head to the west again. By the way, those bracers are part of a quest. There is a character who is looking for them. You don't have to give it back. You get a little bit of XP, but I don't really think it's worth it considering the power of those items. So this is the southwestern quarter of the city. The Merchants League estate is where Adaleth Chandelar is working. You see the 7 Sons that was pointed to us by Scar earlier on. A couple of general stores and general inns, and the Flaming Fist Castle. That's going to be very important later on this chapter because we're going to need to check that out. We're going to move past the 7 Sons. We're still doing our tour of the city. We'll also walk by the merchant's estate. That has a nice little sub-quest to it as well. You'll see, by the way, this little fountain here. There's a gem that you can pick up. A nice little aquamarine gem. It doesn't sell for that much, I don't think, but it's a nice little thing we can pick up. We'll walk right past the Flaming Fist Castle. Now, the inn that's up here, it's been overtaken by slimes, so I don't even think you can rest in the inn. I think it's like so polluted with slimes that you can't even rest in it. So we're going to go north. Actually, we're going to go to the center of Baldur's Gate here. You'll notice that Baldur's Gate is split between 2 levels. There's the upper level and the lower level. We've been checking out the the lower level before, and now we can see that there's a couple of locations that are right on the other side. You get this nice merchants area that's kind of like a fairground. Gambling tents. There's a diviner that we're going to check out maybe later on. There's a quest that leads us to that diviner. And we'll go north. You'll notice up there that looks to be a very familiar balcony. If you remember Baldur's Gate, the intro video. So we'll go ahead and move our way. We're actually going to, now that we're in the upper angle of the city, we're actually not going to head to the marketplace yet. We're going to stop by Lady Hannah, who complains about a man named Ragefast. Ragefast, that sounds like a really nice gentleman. Anyway, so Ragefast seems to be keeping somebody, or doing something really nasty. It turns out that he's actually keeping somebody hostage. So, anyway, we might deal with that a little later. The first things first, I want to kind of explore all the avenues in and out of the area. And so now we'll head on to the western part of the city. We're still in the upper level. We have a very large building here. This is the Hall of Wonders. We'll kind of slide through these 2 parts there. Hall of Wonders is kind of like a museum. One of the potential NPCs we could pick up wants us to kind of rob the location, or to sneak through it, I guess. Then we have the Ladies' Hall. That's going to be very important. That's a temple, I think, to Joaquin. I could be wrong. That's Ragefast's home. That's good for a little side quest. There's another side quest that activates right where I circled, just north of the Ladies' House. And we're going to go ahead and walk right past Ragefast's home. We're actually going to head north right after I scrunge around this this barrel. And we'll head to the northwestern corner. Get stopped by this guy. He's asking if we're going to see a declaration of war. And hopefully nothing bad's going to happen. He says no, it's not really going to happen. But the fact that it's being actually suggested and talked about as a possibility, not a great sign. So we got Drogil's house, the Helm and Cloak. That's a really kind of famous tavern. Quinn's home. I think there's a quest I can submit there, but I need to double check. And then we have, of course, the Silver Shield Estate. So let's check and see if we can actually turn in the quest item. So the door is locked. Typically speaking, if there is a quest item that needs to be turned in, we should be able to just walk in. I think the same might be the case for the Silver Shield Estate as well. I think that might be locked as well. We have items to return to those folks. Maybe this gardener might be able to give us a little more information.
Away with you, beggar.
Nope. So the gardener doesn't have any information to tell. Let's circumnavigate the building. Maybe we'll get a little bit of information there before maybe knocking on the door, seeing who's inside. I think there's a commoner back here.
Hello there.
Oh, she recognizes us as adventurers. I mean, all the weapons and the, heavy armor that we're wearing throughout the city. Yeah, you would think so. Okay, so we'll circle around. I don't think there's anything actually in those crates and whatnot. Let's try. Okay, so the door is locked, of course. Okay, so either we'll have to pick our way in later on to try to return the brooch from Entar Silvershield's son. That's part of what Kagan was aiming to do. Or maybe we can run into him later on in the game. I'm not really sure. But we're going to move through. We're going to head east to the north center of the city. North center of the city. This is going to be an exit to the city. There's also a Temple of Helm. There is the large ducal palace that's right in the center. Razmath's home, which is actually really cool, that tower. We'll get a chance to check out that tower for a side quest within the city. We're going to be doing a ton of side quests in Baldur's Gate. And we have this gentleman here. He talks to us about the sewers. The sewers, of course, are another level to Baldur's Gate that we can explore. We can check that out for either some side quests or for the main quest. You can always go down. You see the little grate, and it has a little set of stairs. You can always head down there. There are enemies down there, so do be careful about that. We're going to walk past the front of the Ducal Palace. We'll see this gentleman here. He tells us we can't get into the Ducal Palace since the Grand Dukes don't let folks in without an invitation or a special event going on. And there's no such event going on. It's a little bit of foreshadowing too, since guess what? We'll probably end up in that city, in that Ducal Palace. Random bag, nothing's in the bag. Random trash can. Nothing's in the random trash can. Okay, so we're going to circle around the back here. I believe this building that we're circling around is actually an inn that we could go to as well. This gentleman is a nobleman whose frame, the iron frame around the glass, broke. Viconia just, of course, has the kindest words to share with this gentleman. And Basil, of course, says, well, you broke the mirror. You also broke the iron. It's 10 years bad luck. The Old Three Kegs is the inn that's right there. That's a nice inn to pay a visit to. And then finally we get to the northeast corner. The Blushing Mermaid is an inn that we will definitely pay a visit to next time. There's another inn within this area of the city. And you'll notice that there's a second area that's right outside of the main wall. That could be accessed through the entrance point of Baldur's Gate, and we'll probably check that out next time when we play. That's going to be it for today. Next time, we'll actually start on one of the quests that helps us to also do another tour guide of the city of Baldur's Gate. I definitely encourage you to come back for that. In the meantime, check out my other videos. I have starter guides, and I have other playthroughs of Baldur's Gate and other games such as Baldur's Gate 3 and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. If you like what I do, feel free to leave the video a like or subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, I want you all to take care and good luck. We're all counting on you.